So, how's your training been going?
Yeah, man, I kinda took a few months off, had some life stuff to take care of.
Ah, right.
But now I'm starting this high-intensity, high-volume, high-frequency, hyper-specific Bulgarian weightlifting system, conjugate-style Norwegian powerlifting RPE 10, German volume training, Shaco-based daily undulating periodization, push-pull legs, mole-off program. The Soviets used it in the 80s,
3 weeks later.
How's your new program going?
Yeah, man, feeling kinda beat up. My back and hips and knees and shoulders and elbows hurt, but that's the price of progress,
In this video, I will offer you a permanent fix for your nagging injuries, aches and pains. I'm not gonna tell you to rub yourself with a ball, do dumb corrective exercises or anything like that. First of all, you need to stop overthinking aches and pains. The body is an adaptive system. Every tissue has the capacity to become stronger and more tolerant towards the stress imposed on it. But this only happens if you stress them gradually and let them recover from that stress, thus enabling them to adapt. If you stress your tissues more than they can handle, you'll start experiencing pain as a warning signal, and eventually, if you ignore this long enough and the pain gets worse and worse, you might experience a real injury. The good news is that your tissues can adapt extremely far and become pain-free even under extreme amounts of stress. The bad news is that this can be a slow process that requires a lot of patience and resilience. One of the worst things you can do is to go full force into training after a hiatus or to suddenly double your volume. You have to find where you're comfortable and then slowly ease your way into more work and intensity. Some people will need to do this slower than others, and everyone has certain exercises that they need to be patient with. I'm a good example of this myself. I used to get shoulder pain from benching only once a week for 4 to 5 sets, but these days I'm benching 4 times a week without any pain whatsoever. The way I finally achieved this, after having banged my head against the wall for 2 years, was that I finally settled with what I could handle without any pain, and starting with that. Then very slowly over the course of months and years I added more work and frequency, using different variations and occasionally dialing my training back down and then ramping it back up again. There are also plenty of examples about people with spinal disc problems or other serious injuries who have become symptom-free by gradually making themselves stronger and more stress-tolerant. In addition to gradually increasing your stress, using different exercise variations also helps a ton. There aren't many lifters in the world who can squat, bench or deadlift using the same variation several times a week with heavy weights who don't run into problems. These variations don't have to be that severe either. For bench, for example, you can change your grip width, the angle of the bench, use pauses or pins, or move your feet up. You don't have to switch to dumbbells or push-ups or machines, although you can do that too. Similar to exercise variation, there aren't many lifters who can lift heavy every week, month after month, without experiencing problems. Think of your long-term lifting the same way you would think of one day of lifting. After your training session, you need to rest to let your body recover and adapt. Likewise, after several weeks of hard and heavy training, you need to have a short period, maybe a few days or even a few weeks, where you take it slightly easier. This doesn't mean a 50% reduction in weights for half the number of sets, throwing around weights that you normally would warm up with. What this does mean is leaving several reps in the tank every set, and probably reducing your sets by a few. This is mainly important for your long-term connective tissue health and for avoiding psychological burnout from your training. The recovery of your muscle tissues usually isn't the bottleneck. A serious trainee will rarely be completely pain-free. There will usually be some problems somewhere in the body, but they don't have to be continuous or nagging ones. By applying these principles, you will have a solid system with which to tackle and overcome these problems whenever they occur. And as time goes on, you will be able to do more and more work without aggravating your tissues. That's all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.
Even the cat is like, what are you doing, man?